Hi, this is Bobby Halton, and we're on the road live at FDIC 2008. And I'm very pleased right now to have an interview with two of my great friends from the Seattle guys. They're a team of 4 normally, but we don't have Casey, we don't have Mike with us right now, but we got Steve Bernocco and we got Phil Jose, and together they make up the 4 of the Seattle guys. And they've just finished their first book called Air Management for the Fire Service, which is really a landmark publication, first of its kind. They've been going all around the country. They've been teaching here for, what, 4 years now, right? So for 4 years, I've been relentlessly beating up on these guys who have just been the most wonderful people we've ever had, some of the most fun people we've ever had teach here, and really decent people, too. Really just salt-of-the-earth kind of guys. And thank you so much, Phil, for being here today. And
thank you,
Steve,
Bobby. Thanks for having us.
And congratulations on winning the Training Achievement Award. Holy cow. That's big-time stuff. I mean, wow. That's some big stuff.
Holy cow is what we said when you called us. I was floored, and it was really an honor to be nominated and to have been selected. Is truly humbling.
No, you guys earned every bit of it. I mean, what a brilliant program. And air management 4 years ago didn't exist. I mean, let's be honest about it. It didn't exist. You guys brought it in, and here it is, and it's going full guns, and now it's an NFPA standard 1404. And people don't understand all the nuances of standards, but rest assured, they may not be laws. But wait till something happens, and some guy in a cheap suit and a man in a dress are going to want to know why you didn't know about it, right? I mean, just because the standard isn't law doesn't mean you shouldn't know about it. So talk to me a little bit about air management. The book's available. People can buy it now.
The book's available online at Fire Engineering Books, and we also have it here at the show down at the bookstore downstairs, and it's readily available for people to purchase. It's about 550 pages, which is all we could think to write on the subject, and most of it, very few crayon drawings in there, but I think there's some stuff for people to use.
Well, you know what Mark Twain said? If I'd had more time, I would have written less.
There you go.
So and I remember when you guys were working on it. I think it was originally like the Gutenberg Bible, wasn't it? Like 1,000 pages, and we had well, there's so much to say about it, really, when you think about it.
Well, what we're trying to do, Bobby, is we're just trying to preach the gospel of air management, and that's a term you coined, and we picked that up. I hope you don't get mad at us for using that.
I probably stole it from somebody else.
Well, what we're doing is we're just trying, really, the problem is we're having firefighters, and we're talking about interior structural firefighting. We're having firefighters go into these buildings and die or get critically injured because they run out of air in these buildings. And Phil and I and our partners, what we're trying to do is to prevent that. That's what we want to prevent, Bobby. We want to prevent guys running out of air inside structure fires.
And the statistics from, I think, I want to say 1990 to 1993, which was a really kind of an interesting little snapshot, it was a 63%. I don't have the more recent stuff, and I apologize.
Yeah,
but
that's about the same.
I don't think it's changed much. No. Lost, disoriented, run out of air, duh. What's interesting to me, too, we talk about air management, and you guys, I think, inspired people to keep looking at it even more critically. When your air pack fails,
you don't have much to go on. Yeah, we know that. You know this. You've taught this for years, and the smoke in today's structure fires just is toxic. And a couple breaths of that, we know that, is going to drop you to the ground, and you're going to be unconscious, and you're going to die.
Right.
And if you're lucky enough to get out, if you're not that far from a door, then you might suffer the effects of all those toxins, those carcinogens, those poisons that you breathed in.
And depending on how susceptible you may be, I think that's the thing that I learned from you guys. I mean, I'm listening to you guys for 3 years, and like every other thick-headed Irishman out there who works in the fire service, I run a fire, and one of my guys gets dropped like third-period French. He takes one whiff, and he falls, standing in a crowd of 5 other men. Rick Lasky and I are standing right there, and he drops right to the ground, literally outside the garage in front of us. And what we learned there was it's all about the individual, too. I mean, what affects you may not affect you, may not affect me, but it could kill. It almost killed this poor guy. Great guy, too, just an absolutely great guy. Probably the healthiest guy in the group, too. That's what really, just scared the heck out of me, was the biggest, healthiest, strapping guy, boom, down.
Hydrogen cyanide doesn't know who that guy is and doesn't care. And that's what you taught us. And you taught us about hydrogen cyanide. And we're having problems with hydrogen cyanide. It's actually, we're calling it now, it works in combination, we're finding out, and I'm not telling you anything new, Bobby, but it works in combination with carbon monoxide to be an escape inhibitor. So this is why these firefighters are actively fighting off people trying to rescue them. We had one of our captains actually fight off. He was a big man, 6'6", big man. He was actually fighting off two other ladder company personnel, fighting him physically.
Right.
And he was out of air and breathing in that toxic smoke. Luckily, our guys dragged him out. He was in full respiratory arrest. Thank God he's with us. He's safe. But that could have gone the other way.
The guys used to call it the myth that every firefighter wants to get rescued, because before we knew why, we didn't know why, and these guys would be combative, and we're like, hey, we're here to help you. You got to pay attention to us. And now we know, that the oxygen there's no uptake capability because the cyanide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen chloride is blocking all that. So, great book. So, going forward, where do you see the air management, Phil, down the road? Give me a snapshot. 2 years out, 5 years out.
One thing I think is interesting is that I think air management's coming. I think it's that train that's moving down the track. People may not completely realize that it's there yet, but it's coming, and it's nothing that firefighters can't do. I mean, we know from our experience that you can train firefighters to do this. They get 75% of their air that they can give to the citizens, 75% to the fire department, 75% to the citizens that they serve. All we're saying is set aside 25% as a margin for error and a margin for safety. That for your family, for your wife, for your kids, for your mom and dad. 75% to be the aggressive, knockdown, drag-out firefighter that we all love to be, breaking stuff and taking names, right? But leave a 25% margin. So as this moves forward, what we see is once people accept air management into their fire department, even a little bit, they never turn around and go back. They never go backwards. They only move forwards. And there's departments all over the country. As we talk to people here at FDIC and people that we talk for the book, it's not just happening in Seattle. It's not just happening in Phoenix as a result of the Brett Tarver incident. It's happening in Alabama and Florida and Texas and New York and New Jersey and Minnesota, and it's spreading across the country. So it's coming to the fire service. Really, the only question is, are people going to be an agent of change and accept air management and change? Or are they going to be an agent of resistance? Because sooner or later, the resistance will be completely defeated. It's only an individual choice, and individual fire departments. Are we going to change, or are we going to resist?
I always thought that life without air really sucked. So when I ran the Albuquerque Training Academy, I used to put plastic bags over the guys' heads and put rubber bands on. They made me stop some kind of abusing the recruits thing.
They didn't get that on video.
I thought it was overblown. But when you think about it, we've all done that as kids, foolishly put saran wrap or whatever to our faces. And when you get that terrifying moment when you can't breathe, or when you've swallowed something and it lodges and you can't breathe, people need to remember that when you run out of air in a fire, it's the same exact feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It's that terrifying realization that you're out of air, and that's the only thing separating you from meeting God. And you may not be ready.
You're right, Bobby. It's really interesting because you talking about the air being an important resource. It's just funny, as firefighters, what we're doing right now is we manage our resources at every fire. We manage a lot of different resources at the same time. You think about it. Fire engineers, chauffeurs, they manage their water on engine companies, right?
Sure, right.
Officers, they manage their crew, their people, right? We have the incident command system at the strategic level to manage our people and do accountability. We manage so many things on the fire ground, but we're not managing the most important thing, arguably, to get us inside structural fires.
And what I love about your book, and what I love about you guys' approach, and I wish we had, Casey and Mike with us as well, but what I love about what you guys have done is that rather than just rely on technology, because we've got great systems out there, and God bless the folks that are building those electronic telemetry systems, you've taken it to the level with your book and it's brilliantly written to where every firefighter going in with 2 guys or going in with 3 can take care of each other's air, can watch each other, can help each other stay connected, because that's the key to survival. If you get in a jam, the RIT team will get to you eventually, but your best bet is the folks that you came to the dance with. You got to dance with who brung you, and that's who's going to get you out. And when you read the air management book, if that one little tidbit of wisdom doesn't come through, you're missing the point. You know, we really are brothers keepers. And yeah, we provide service to the community, but we have to provide service to each other all the time too. And reminding one another about air management is smart money. It's smart business, because you don't know if the guy next to you is going to be super susceptible. You don't know. And you could be there in a job for 30 years, and one day, like you said, just the right concentration, wrong spot, wrong time, and you know, we've got a tragedy. Well, listen, you guys, I am so proud of you. Training achievement.
Thank you for having us here, Bob. It's been a pleasure.
No, and what a huge book. I got Air Management for the Fire Service. It's Bernocco, Phillips, Jose, and Galliano. It's available from Fire Engineering. It's a must-read. 1404 is a very important standard, not just for the fire service, but for you as an individual. I'm Bobby Halton. We're on the road, and be careful out there.